Donald Trump didn't waste any time. He went on Trump Social and said, there you go, I've called it fake news and now it's proved. Not only that, but I guess for the national broadcaster, Tom, to be essentially defaming the President of the United States, the UK's most important ally, the BBC are meant to act in the interests of the people of Britain. This would be blatantly acting against the national interest for their own ideological purposes. I don't know how else to put it.
No, I think that's very well put. And I think what's also been so striking about the reaction in recent days is there has been an attempt to present the exit of Tim Davie and Deborah Turness as effectively the corporation bowing to right-wing pressure. That's both from the White House, but there's also kind of all kinds of conspiracy theories doing the rounds about various members of the BBC board who are Tories by background, and therefore they've engineered this. I mean, if there is a kind of right-wing coup at the BBC, it's been the most ineffectual one in history. And every time that the BBC is attacked, even quite rightly, as the White House are well within their rights to have done in this instance, the move is always to be incredibly defensive. It's almost like we have to ignore these criticisms because otherwise we can't defend the institution. If people within the BBC or outside of it really want it to continue to exist, to continue to maintain its reputation both here and around the world, which has taken a hell of a knock over the course of the past week, they need to take these questions seriously. What we've seen since then is just deflection, as I say, conspiracy theories, and a refusal to accept that anything has gone wrong, even when a dossier enumerating dozens of times in which it has gone wrong has been presented to them. If they can't learn from this, I don't think there is any scandal that could shake them out of this.
Just one more question on this. I was talking to my panel just before you came on air, and there's reports that there'll be now an inquiry into the BBC's handling of climate change and how they've reported that. What do you expect that inquiry to find?
Not a hell of a lot. I mean, the BBC's climate editor is so biased on this particular question. His name's Justin Rowlatt. He has actually been wrapped over the knuckles by the internal editorial complaints unit at the BBC for just flat out saying completely factually incorrect things. He's still in post, still posting things out at the BBC. This is another area which I think is one that will be investigated next, but will the BBC market its own homework for the umpteenth time make that much difference? I would be surprised.
I'm sure you understand, Tom, the interest here in Australia in what's happening with the BBC, driven in large part because there's some similarities with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation here. So we're watching with great interest. Just before I let you go, I want to ask you about a consideration on behalf of Keir Starmer with regards to asylum seekers who have been staying in hotels at exorbitant cost to the British taxpayers. He's now considering a trial scheme in which asylum seekers would be offered the equivalent of $200 a week to leave taxpayer-funded hotels. No surprise, Brits aren't happy with them staying in hotels, but neither are they happy with the idea that they might be paid to leave the hotels.
No, and this is exactly the problem. The issue of illegal migration is that people have been allowed to enter the country illegally and therefore should be removed. The government think it's just about getting them out of the hotels, that those protests are purely that people aren't happy with the hotels being used in that way. As ever, the issue is upstream from that. They need to tackle that. And the British public are not so dim that they're not going to notice you're just trying to move the issue around, which is what the government has been trying to do.
Exactly. You nailed it, Tom, as you always do. A delight to talk to you. Thanks for joining me tonight.